This is the Seiko SZSB006, and I instantly fell in love with it when I saw it first. It has a beautiful vintage look without being overdone with Faux patina. It has absolutely lovely cathedral hands that I love on my Seiko SZSB006 Alpinist. And last but not least, a very clean black edgeable dial without the Prospex logo. And then to finish and top of the deal, it's only 40mm in case size, so it's perfect for my small wrists. It surely is a very artistically pleasing model from Seiko stable and a really unique release. In 2019, Seiko released two watches to celebrate the 35-year history together with TicTac, which is a watch retail specialty store in Japan. The first two releases were this vintage field watch inspired SZSB and the more dressy SZSB007. Then came the less popular SZSB025 and 026 in 2021, and then followed up by the sunburst blue dial SZSB028 in 2022. Back to the watch that we have here today. They're only sold in-store by TicTac, so in Japan, and that makes them GDM or Japanese domestic market models. And the original MSRP was about 55,000 yen, which I would say is roughly equivalent to 375 euros. Exclude, of course, the shipping and tax that would come on top of this model. Straight up on release in 2019, I tried to buy this watch, but it was just impossible to get one. It was very popular, the release came with a lot of hype, and I just wasn't able to buy one straight away without having to pay like double or triple the price to someone that was trying to flip the watch through Chrono or eBay. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna pay double. I gave up on it, and I actually didn't really look at it for a couple of years. Although its popularity very early on, the hype about this watch seemed to have ended very quickly. So approximately 2 months ago, I was able to purchase the SZSB locally for only like 450 euros, and it was a complete new set in new condition, and it even came with an extra bracelet that looks better than the original. So after 4 years, I finally got the watch. What's really interesting is that the SZSB was limited to 3,500 pieces, and normally 4 years after release that would make it absolutely impossible to find this watch new. But if you just look it up online, there's plenty of online retailers that sell it in absolutely new condition. And I was doing some research on this model, and I read on Reddit that if you go to some TicTac stores in Japan, that they're still being sold new. So that raises some questions, like why are you still able to buy this watch new after 4 years after release? And how good is the quality if people apparently don't seem to like it as much as I thought people would like it? I guess that's the questions that we're gonna find out today, so let's go to the bench and take a closer look. So the watch comes in a special Seiko TicTac box and outer box, and I would say it's a tad nicer than the normal Seiko release boxes, but it's nothing really special really. And it also comes with a generic Seiko manual for the 4R35 movement. Let's start with specifications. We have a 40mm stainless steel case with a look-to-look of 48mm. The watch is definitely not too thick with just 11mm. The strap is 20mm, so you can easily swap it to whatever you have. It houses the 4R35 movement and has domed mineral crystal. The dial has lume on the hour markers, the 12 and the 6, and of course on the hands. The 40mm stainless steel case is beautiful and reminiscent of the older SZSB and Alpinist cases with its brushed lugs and side polished surfaces. The overall curved design feels a bit top heavy, but the domed crystal next to the smooth polished bezel creates a very well balanced and actually really sleek case design. The drilled lugs make strap changing very easily, which is a plus in my opinion, and the crown is very elegant, similar to the SZSB017, of course without the second crown, with really short crown protectors, which makes it small overall. Unfortunately, the crown is unsigned. The dial is what was really drawn me to this watch, and it's not very often that we see cathedral hands outside of the Alpinist range, nor do we see Faux patina from Seiko at all. I normally steer away from Faux patina because it can look a bit fake or just not right or not matching with the rest of the design, but I think it's very well done here. The creamy color of the lume in the hands, the hour markers and the 12 and 6 work really well and are part of the unique aesthetics and look a bit Rolex Explorer-esque, so to say. The dark black dial plays well and switches a bit from dark grey to black in different lighting. And this is also where the domed crystal actually works in favor of the watch. I would have maybe preferred sapphire crystal at this price point, but it does look good on this model and the vintage vibe.
The crystal also makes the applied Seiko logo and automatic text elevate a bit compared to the minute ring on the edges, which is a nice touch on the design.
Before we turn the watch around, I would ask you to subscribe to the channel if you like the story in the watch so far. We have a lot more Seikos, Russian watches, a lot of micro brands, a bit of everything coming up. And let me know in the comments down below which watch you would like to tell me a story about next.
For the caseback, we have the really standard see-through caseback. I'm not a massive fan of see-through casebacks with just really standard generic movements, but it's not the worst, and it mentions TicTac limited edition, so I'm happy with it. Inside we have the successor of the 7S26 movement, the 4R36, which has accuracy ratings of -35 to +45 and has up to 40 hours of power reserve. While it's not the best movement per se, it's definitely widely used and proven. It's not the main selling point of the watch either though, because it's nothing special at this price point. In the past days of the Sharp line, Seiko offered much better value for money, but I guess I just have to accept that unfortunately those days are over.
Granted, I'm wearing this on an aftermarket bracelet and I have pretty small wrists. The SZSB006 wears slightly big due to its look-to-look, but it's definitely not too big since it's decently proportioned and not too thick. The pretty curved, relatively short looks helps with the wearability massively, and I kind of like that about the case design. I kind of enjoy wearing the SZSB006, especially with how the dial plays in different lighting, so when I'm outside or inside it plays to grey and black. And I think it works great as a daily watch. It's dressy enough to go with a shirt, but it's also sporty enough to go with a t-shirt. And it's just a great vintage look on your wrist with a modern jacket and quality, so I would say it's absolutely great on the wrist if you don't have too big of a wrist. I had to think a while about my final conclusions about this watch, so let's hear some pros, some cons, and finally my personal opinion. Artistically speaking, this watch is absolutely beautiful in my opinion. It gives me a little bit Rolex Explorer-esque vibes, and the Faux Patina and the Cathedral hands are both pretty rare offerings in Seiko stable, and I really like that about the watch. Without going like full field watch like a Hamilton Khaki, it gives that vibe, but is more for everyday wear, and I really like that about this model. It's the perfect choice for an everyday general watch that you want to wear, and I think Seiko nailed the design on this one. Size wise, it is definitely not too big, it's not big on the wrist, and I really like that about that. So if you have small wrists, this is a good purchase. It doesn't wear any bigger than an SKX or an Alpinist in my opinion. The only thing that holds back the wearability is the original bracelet, but you can solve that with straps or aftermarket bracelets, and it's pretty normal at this price point from Seiko, unfortunately. Considering you pay around 400 to 500 euros for this model, however, you're not getting the same bang for buck as we are used to with the Sharp line, the Alpinist and the Sharp 033, but as I said earlier, perhaps we have to realize that that time is over and we're not just simply not getting those specifications for that price anymore. I think the watch seriously lacks sapphire crystal, a signed crown, perhaps an upgraded movement, and there's just better watches that offer a better value to money proposition in this price point nowadays. So I get why this proposition might not be interesting to a lot of you guys. I don't understand though how it's not sold out. It's such a unique model from Seiko. There's nothing that comes even close to this design, and that's what I really like about it. And I don't get why you can still buy this new in Japan 4 years after release. I don't get it. It's way too good of a watch for that. There's simply not a single other Seiko that looks like this one, so why is it not sold out and more popular? Even with the lower specs, I feel myself grabbing this watch every day over other watches, and I think that's just because how cool it looks. And that's in the end it's all about, like, how much does the watch speak to you? Do you wear it daily? Do you like it? So sometimes maybe value to money isn't the most important thing, and I think Seiko nailed it with how it looks on this watch. And that's the verdict. If you like to purchase this watch yourself, I see them all the time on eBay or Chrono or Rakuten or maybe some of the other Japanese platforms. If you wait a little bit, they're definitely available for like 450 to 500 euros and you get a brand new watch for that. So if you're looking to pick up yourself one, definitely go ahead, go look online, and perhaps you'll get this limited edition TicTac. Alright, thank you guys for watching. My name is Robin, this is Watchera. I hope you guys liked the review. We have a lot more watches coming up. I have everything from a $40 Vostok to a 6,000 Grand Seiko. So if you like this video, I appreciate it. Please consider subscribing for more awesome watch content, and I'll see you guys next time.